Good morning, guys. Happy New Year. I am back much sooner than I thought I would be because I wanted to talk about comics. I mean, honestly, I would also like to talk about my favorite video games of the year and movies and action figures and television, but that would be a very elaborate, hour-long video that I just do not have the spoons to put together. So we're just going to focus, limit ourselves to one topic, maybe one and a half, we'll see. And if you want those extended thoughts on other things I was into this year, you can hit me up on Instagram or whatever. I'm sure I'll have lots to say. I mean, I've got plenty of outlets for all that other stuff, like I was posting my figure pickups and my retro video games and stuff over on my socials. I was constantly talking to friends about that sort of stuff. But with comics, I kind of live in isolation. I don't really deal with the comic book community. Just the way it's geared more towards speculative purchasing and grading your books and stuff like that. I'm not as into that. I'm much more casual about it all. I just go down to my local comic book store every Wednesday and pick up the books that look interesting to me. Maybe collect some fun variant covers. Yeah, that's where I'm at with this hobby. I'm here for the fun art and the storytelling, and that's about it. That also means that when I read something truly exceptional, I don't really have anyone to tell. I can't really sing its praises. I guess I can go on Twitter and look up the author or the artist and be like, hey, you did a great job. But now, I have a YouTube channel and tens of subscribers. So, gonna throw my weight around. Try to use a little of this pull to get y'all to check out, these things, these floppy guys. Ultimate X-Men. I will try my best to keep most of these features short, but this one does require a little bit of preamble. Last summer, there was an event called Ultimate Invasion, where the old Ultimate Universe invaded, the 616, the main Marvel comic universe. I didn't read it, but it caused a bunch of new books to spin off, most successful of which was Ultimate Spider-Man, which kicked off in January of this year. Haven't been reading that either, sorry. But what I have been reading is Peach Momoko's excellent Ultimate X-Men series. Peach Momoko's art, you can see some back there, that's actually what got me back into comics. So hearing that she was going to have her own unique take on X-Men and full creative control, all the art is her, all the writing is her. Of course I was there to get one. This is a huge departure from established canon, but I mean that as a very good thing. Very small cast of characters. You have Hisako, who is kind of this universe's take on Armor, and Maystorm, who can manipulate electricity and the weather, similar to Storm. I don't want to get too into plot specifics and spoilers, because I think there's a lot of fun surprises in this book. But one of its greatest strengths is Peach Momoko herself, not just her art, but her storytelling. She is pulling a lot from Japanese urban legend, superstition, yokai myths, stuff like that. So if you are fond of stuff like Dandadan, very popular right now, this has a similar vibe. Of course, it has a much more reserved, muted color palette, these beautiful watercolor pages, but it does also lean into some really cool horror visuals, and there's just a lot of good in this book. I think it's worth checking out if you're into manga and you're trying to dip your toes into comic books. It's a good place to start. This is just a semi-related honorable mention. In Phases of the Moon Knight 3, this is an anthology book that follows the adventures of various Moon Knights throughout the ages. The first story in here is actually by, what's his name? Yuji Kaku, the guy who did Hell's Paradise. So there's some really cool, bright, exciting art in here that I think if you're into manga and you want to check out a comic, that's the good place to look to. Alright, if I'm going to talk about Marvel for that long, I should probably even things out and talk about some DC for a while. And DC has had a very strong year with their new Absolute books. These are great. So much like with the Ultimate Universe and what Marvel's been doing, DC has also started their own new continuity of fresh takes on old established heroes. So far, there's only been 3. They did Batman, they did Wonder Woman, and they did Superman. I know Flash, Martian Manhunter, Green Lantern, maybe some few others are coming in the new year. But if they're anything like these books, they're day one purchases, because these are a lot of fun. I probably won't go as in-depth into these books because they are kind of the hottest thing in comics right now. There's a ton of articles and videos about them if you want to do your own independent learning, but I'll just hit the Cliff's Notes, the bare basics. The Batman book is an absolute page-turner. This take on Bruce Wayne, he's a lot younger, he's in his 20s, he's built like a fridge, he's a huge dude. He does not have his billionaire background, he is just a city engineer, but he's still very Batman. He's still a planner, very much on top of his game. Fantastic book. Really fun. A little cheesy in places, but that's okay. This Wonder Woman book, also an absolute banger. The big change with her origin is she was not raised on an island with Amazonian women. She was instead plucked from her home by the gods and dumped into hell, where she's raised by Circe. So she has a cool mix of her traditional Wonder Woman power set, but she also has like some dark magics and stuff, and she looks metal as hell. Yeah, great book. But this Superman book has also been a really pleasant surprise. Never been super into the Man of Steel, but I like what they're doing with this one. The changes to the origin are really subtle, but they alter his character in an interesting way. Kal-El Superman did actually grow up on Krypton in this version. He didn't know his parents, and he watched them fight against the ruling class who pushed the planet past the point of environmental collapse, which probably destroyed Krypton. We haven't got to that point yet. There's just been the 2 issues, but issue 3 is right around the corner in January. But yes, the Absolute Universe gets a big thumbs up from me. If you're looking to get into superhero comics, this is a great jumping on point. There's no prerequisites. You just start at number 1. Fresh universe, fresh everything. What should we do next? Flip map. First we got to talk about the cover gimmick, because the cover gimmick is really cool. So when you purchase one of these, they actually come in a poly bag that looks like this, and then inside is a 1-of-1 variant, the only version of that cover that will ever exist. Impossible, you say. You scoff in my face, you spit on my shoes, and you punch me in the teeth. No, it's true. This is really cool. It had the potential to be awful, but the way they executed it was really smart. They had an artist draw up various elements, so you have like different hairstyles, different eyewear outfits, effects in the background and stuff, and color palettes, and they had a machine randomize them and spit them out as different unique covers. Actually, if you look at the bottom here, it tells you how it was randomized. There's also a website where you can register your cover and add it to your collection. They did a lot of cool stuff around this. I hear people talk about the cover gimmick, but they don't really talk about the comic itself. But I think this is a fun little story, and it's worth checking out. It's a solar punk story taking place in the distant future. You got 2 factions kind of at odds with each other, living in uneasy peace. You got great blue skies and foliage and cyberpunk adjacent stuff, but it's solar punk. What it also does is pulls a lot from like RPG video games and stuff. The action choreography is really dynamic and fun to read. Plenty of well thought out world building, some great like 2-page spreads. They even went to the trouble of making their own little platforming video game. You can go to their website and make your own custom levels or play other users' levels. That's pretty cool. It all just kind of adds to the package, it makes it feel like this comic out of the future, this whole multimedia thing they got going on. The series is only 6 issues. It's a complete arc, tells the full narrative, but I'm kind of curious if this collective is going to do another release with a similar cover gimmick. Or, honestly, I just like to check out other stuff by these artists again. They make pretty cool stuff. This next one is an honorable mention, but it's only an honorable mention because I am missing the very last issue. I can't speak to the quality as a whole, But based on these 4 issues, I figured I should include it because this is some top tier stuff. Ain't No Grave. This is by Scotty Young and Jorge Corona. That's the same creative duo that did The Me You Love in the Dark, which is, again, one of the comic series that got me into the hobby. So it's cool to see them collaborating again. Jorge Corona's art in this book, incredible. Like, issue 4 is almost entirely silent. They just let the art breathe. I recommend, if you are reading this book, just slow down, take it all in. There's a lot of detail packed into like all these huge 2-page spreads. And the story itself is very simple, easy to get behind. You got a dangerous outlaw heading to the underworld to kill death. Like, what else do you need? Shame I'm missing that last issue though, because I'd like to know how it all wrapped up. Okay, final 2 features. I'll keep this brief. I want to talk about I Heart Skullcrusher. I am noticing a trend in my recommendations. I seem to like comic books that pull a lot from anime tropes or feel like manga. That's okay, I read a lot of manga, so... But I Heart Skullcrusher definitely stands on its own merits. You have the story of a shonen-style protagonist in the post-apocalypse, Trini here, who is compelled to be the best screaming paintball player and win the approval of her idol Skullcrusher there. Really lovable cast of characters, a lot of heart in this book, also genuinely funny. I can think of at least 1 or 2 laugh out loud moments that I had reading through the early issues. I love that it's an ongoing now. It was originally just 5 issues, but it got expanded and there's more issues coming. So, you know, great time to hop in before it gets away from you. There's, 7 issues so far? Not bad. Just an interesting stylistic note I want to point out. When they introduce a character, they usually get these screaming paintball trading cards. I like that detail. They also usually throw them up on the back cover there. I don't know, just stuff like that gives it a little more personality. And my very last comic recommendation of 2024, that's going to be Dawn Runner, baby. Dawn Runner! Favorite art of the year, hands down. Evan Cagle, just killing it. Incredible stuff. I don't even want to flip through this. There's too many spoilers. But do you like giant robots? Do you like giant monsters? How do you feel about the film Pacific Rim? Because there's a lot of Pacific Rim in the DNA of this one. Well, it's still making it uniquely its own thing. I love our lead character. I love the bond that she shares with, we'll just say, her robot, without getting too deep into what's going on there. Fantastic final couple of issues. It really goes some places. Check it out. It's only 5 issues. What do you got to lose? That wasn't so bad. Went over the major ones I wanted to talk about. I got a few more honorable mentions I just want to rattle off. You got Daniel Warren Johnson's Transformers, the one they've been doing with Skybound and Image. This is just a treat every month, you know? It just keeps getting better. Again, Jorge Corona also been working on that book. Jed McKay and Alessandro Cappuccio, killer duo on all these Moon Knight books that have been going for a while now. Just this continuing story is so good. So much sauce in these pages. Yeah, last one. We'll tack this on. I wasn't sure if I was going to include this one. Issue number 1 just came out recently. It's a very difficult read. It's very mature subject matter. Not for all audiences, but Vecchio's art is just great. Again, I gotta stress, look up trigger warnings before you consider this book, or this is actually a prequel to Lovesick. Original Lovesick, also a very difficult read. I've got a few minutes. Should we do manga? Let's do manga, real quick. I'm gonna skip over the popular stuff. Yes, I'm reading Chainsaw Man. I'm keeping up with Dan to Dan. They're all fantastic. We know they're fantastic. But let's talk about some others that are kind of flying under the radar. You have Toru Kuramori's Centuria. It is a dark fantasy series about a former slave. People like to compare it to Berserk and Vinland Saga, and they're not far off the mark. The art is just mwah sound. Chef's kiss. And it's honestly become one of my favorites. Every Sunday I sit down and enjoy a new chapter of Centuria. Check out Centuria. Also, Tower Dungeon. You should read some Tower Dungeon. It is done by the same artist who did Blom, who did Knights of Sidonia. It's a dark fantasy about a group of people tasked with scaling the Dragon Tower and saving the princess who was kidnapped by a necromancer. It's got a lot of Dark Souls DNA. Just look at some of these pages, like they really scream Dark Souls. So if you're into Miyazaki, specifically Souls Miyazaki, not Ghibli Miyazaki, check out Tower Dungeon. What else we got? This one for sure. Don't make me say the title out loud. I've never really nailed the pronunciation of that one, but this is a wonderful series. Chapters for this one only come out once a month, but it really shows in the artwork. It's beautifully finished. It looks like it took a long time to complete. Love this one. No Name, Hero Organization, Nightlight Hounds, Astro Baby, Ghost Fixers. This could turn into an entire separate video on its own. Read some manga. But as for the original topic of this video, we're done. We've covered all I wanted to cover today, and then some. If you read comics in 2024 and there was something truly exceptional that I missed out on, Ultimate Spider-Man, just let me know in the comments below, and maybe I'll check it out myself. I would love to get some recommendations that way. Plans for 2025. I don't know. I'll open some blind boxes. How's that sound? Is that what you people crave? I mean, it's what I crave. I've got a few already waiting in the wings, so we're well on our way to our next video. Yeah, thanks for letting me do this today. Maybe next year we'll do a complete retrospective on the year. I'll probably take some better notes throughout the year of some stuff that came out, so it'll be easier for me to organize stuff like this. Yeah, that's it for today, guys. Again, Happy New Year. Looking forward to hanging out with you again. Bye-bye.